Welcome to The Explainer. Now, right off the bat, I want you to picture something with me. Imagine we're standing in the shadows of a dimly lit ancient synagogue. You can hear the faint echoes of trembling voices, the historical prayers of Israel. In front of us, resting on a heavy, worn wooden table illuminated just by flickering candlelight, is an ancient yellowed parchment. When you look closely at the text on that parchment, it's not just words, it's a profound, mystical code embedded deep within this heritage. Today, we're decoding that exact secret. We are going to dive deep into the spiritual mechanics of why, in the most profound mystical traditions, God alone and absolutely no one else is considered the true Father and Redeemer. Let's get right into it.
So we're starting with this incredibly fascinating quote from the Zohar, which actually echoes the prophet Isaiah. It says, "You are our father, for Abraham did not know us, and Israel does not recognize us." Now wait a minute, right? This presents an immediate, massive puzzle. Think about it. Why on earth would this foundational text explicitly bypass the great patriarchs, Abraham and Jacob? Jacob literally is Israel. These guys are the undisputed founders of the nation. So why would the text emphatically declare that they did not know us?
Well, the answer lies in what Kabbalah calls the sod, the deep underlying mystical secret. You see, we aren't just looking at a history lesson here, we're looking at a highly complex system of divine spiritual mechanics. In this system, our human ancestors are absolutely vital infrastructure, for sure. But they are not the ultimate source. The secret is that when those human conduits are pushed to their absolute limits by the sheer weight of time, the shadows of exile and history, they eventually reach a point where they just can't transmit the signal anymore. Only the infinite remains constant.
Okay, to really grasp this, let's use a modern tech analogy. Let's compare Abraham and Jacob to something we rely on every single day: network routers. Imagine the spiritual universe as this massive global internet network. Abraham and Jacob, they are the high-powered, foundational, enterprise-level routers directing all that data traffic. They are critical to the system. But the divine? The divine is the ultimate source code, the root admin. You know, a router only passes on the signal it receives. If that connection gets severed in a deep, dark, dead zone of history, you don't need a better router. You need the root admin to completely bypass the local hardware and connect to you directly.
Let's look at how this incredible cosmic architecture actually maps out down the tree of life. Step 1 at the very top is Keter, or the crown. This is the pure divine will, the absolute initial spark of the whole system. Moving to step 2, we have Chogma and Bina, representing the primordial father and mother architecture of the universe. Then, in step 3, this is where our human hardware enters the picture. Abraham embodies Chesed, which is loving kindness, and Jacob embodies Tiferet, which is harmony. Finally, step 4, moving from Yesod down to Malkut, acts as the great transmission cable. It pushes that divine signal all the way down into the physical grid, which is the reality where you and I actually live, breathe, and navigate every day.
Now, what makes this ancient mysticism so utterly brilliant is how perfectly it translates into frameworks we already understand. For the IT professionals out there, think of cosmic engineering. That top tier is your root admin, the system architecture is the engine, and so on. But let's say you're explaining this to kids playing a video game. It works perfectly. Keter is the ultimate developer who literally coded the physics engine. Down at the human level, Abraham and Jacob act as your data conduits, or those super powerful mid-level guides that help you out on your quest. And that physical grid at the very bottom, Malchut, that is the player character. That's you, trying to navigate the incredibly difficult, messy level of everyday reality. So, this brings us back to our big question. Why can't Abraham be the ultimate father in this specific mystical text? It's simply because Abraham, as incredible as he was, had limitations as a conduit. Think of him like a line of code that contains a divergent branch. His biological line didn't just route straight to Isaac, it actually branched out to Ishmael as well. The Zohar even notes that he prayed for Ishmael to live before the divine. Because his legacy routed in multiple directions, he functioned as a profoundly vital node in the network. Absolutely. But because his routing had a split, he couldn't be the singular, unbroken root code.
Now, Jacob's limitation was a little different. His signal didn't branch outside the system like Abraham's did. His bed was whole. But he passed the ultimate blessing onward to 12 different sons. He essentially shifted from holding a singular concentrated blessing to distributing it across a wide network of tribes. He acted as the absolutely perfect router. But here's the thing about routers. A router distributes data. It does not generate it. Jacob completed his monumental task, but he isn't the eternal generator of the signal.
And this is exactly what brings us to the profound definition of the word Avinu, which translates to our Father. In this deep Kabbalistic context, Father isn't just a biological title, not at all. It is the constant, unbroken source code. It's the root admin that never ever goes offline. It functions as the ultimate cloud backup. When the physical hardware of human lineage is literally thousands of years in the past, a VNU ensures that the original, uncorrupted data is perfectly intact and actively downloading to us right here, right now.
So if a VNU is our infinite cloud backup, then Goelinu, which means our Redeemer, is the ultimate firewall. And this is crucial. Redemption here isn't just about a one-time historical event like crossing the Red Sea thousands of years ago. It is an active, continuous, ever-present security protocol. It's the mechanism of covenant that protects the entire system, even when we are operating in the lowest, darkest, and most vulnerable realms of exile. This firewall literally never sleeps.
If we map this all out chronologically, it's amazing because you can literally trace the flow of this divine data. It all starts up top with Keter, the highest abstract will. Then it drops into that cosmic father and mother architecture of Chukma and Bina. From there, the signal is routed down through the physical lives, the actions, and the chesed of the patriarchs. And finally, it hits Malchut. It hits the physical grid, reaching us as we navigate the often harsh, confusing realities of this world.
The Zohar beautifully, almost poetically, translates this whole mechanical flow into a deeply emotional reality. It says, "You constantly stand over us to bless and watch over us, like a father who watches over his children in everything they need." I mean, wow. This is the cloud backup in actual action. It's the ultimate reassurance that no matter how dark things get in the physical world, no data and absolutely no soul is ever truly lost.
This naturally begs a pretty massive question about system failure. What happens when the historical routers of Abraham and Jacob can no longer reach us in the depths of our exile? What happens when the distance is just so vast and the worldly interference is so heavy that the signal seems completely, utterly lost? Well, this is the ultimate, triumphant resolution of our text. When the routers of history fade, the root admin bridges the gap directly. Period. The ultimate developer essentially steps right into the game. Because the source code and the firewall are literally one and the same entity, there is absolutely no separation between a call for help and the rescue. The connection becomes direct, immediate, and completely unbreakable.
And what's the ultimate goal of all these spiritual mechanics? It's complete system unity. It's exactly as referenced in the prophet Zechariah and brought down in the Zohar. In that day, the Lord will be one and his name one. Think of it like this. When the ultimate developer finally clears all the bugs from the level, sweeping away the shadows of exile, the entire system is going to operate in perfect, seamless, totally unified oneness.
So this leaves us with a real question to ponder. We spend so much of our lives relying on mid-level guides, right? Our mentors, our history, our institutions, we look to them to route our connections for us. But if the ultimate source code is always running in the background, acting as an unbreakable cloud backup, are you spending too much time talking to the router instead of logging directly into the root admin? Thank you for joining us for this complete journey through the Pardes. We hope these ancient truths help you and your family improve your own dimensions this week. If you enjoyed this full chapter deep dive, please like, subscribe, and share which part of the journey touched your soul in the comments. We'll see you in the next chapter.